Happy New Year, everybody. College football playoff goes down on New Year's Day. We got two games. We've got the Sugar Bowl. We also have the Rose Bowl. First up in the Rose Bowl, we have Michigan and Alabama. Then in the Sugar Bowl, we have Washington and Texas. Joining me to break all this down, you see him on the screen right there, New York Post sports college guru, my guy, Zach Braziller. Zach, Happy New Year. How's it going?
Happy New Year. Good, man. I'm excited for some bowl games that actually, are worth watching.
Yeah, it's ones that matter, count, worth watching, all that stuff. That's always good. Before we get into the games individually, I wanted to ask you about these matchups. Do you view this as one of the best semifinal matchups that we've seen in the last couple of years where every team actually has a shot to win?
Yeah, look, I do. You know, in past years, you go into this and you kind of think, one team or two teams that are the heavy favorites. And look, I think Alabama's winning it all. And even them, they're an underdog today. 1.5 points to Michigan. Yeah, look, I think Alabama is the favorite in my eyes, but yeah, I don't think there's any question that all four teams could win. And it's kind of, emblematic of this year where there was no great team. Um, there as you went, you had a ton of teams that you felt could win it all. I still think Oregon, Georgia are two teams that probably could have won it all. Ohio State, if it was full strength, obviously they had a lot of opt outs for their bowl game. So yeah, no, I mean, I think it's kind of typical of the year we had, where you had just so many teams that were in the playoff mix deep into the season, and really, as we head into the playoff, I think, yeah, all four teams. To me, I wouldn't be surprised if Washington won it all. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it so exciting today is the fact that anybody can win this. But I want to talk about the first game at the Rose Bowl, right? We got number one Michigan, number four Alabama. You kind of gave us a little bit of a tease there, very buried the lead here in terms of Alabama. You think they're really good. You think they're dangerous, even though Michigan are favored in this game. How do you see this one playing out? I know you pretty much said you think Alabama's going to win. Do you think this is going to be close, or is this all Bama?
Yeah, I think it's competitive. I picked 34-20 Alabama in today's paper. I just think Alabama's better. I think they're battle tested. Look, let's look at this. Let's look at they beat Georgia, snapped that long winning streak, the two-time national champions. They played Texas, lost to them at home. LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee. They've played. I mean, Michigan's probably not the best team they've played all year. And then you look at Michigan, where they've played really two teams all season. Penn State, who is, a typical Penn State team where they win 10 games, but really aren't that good. And then they beat Ohio State. Um, Michigan has not played nearly the schedule Alabama's played. J.J. McCarthy has struggled late in the year. I think Jalen Milroe is the heavy favorite to win the Heisman next year. I think Alabama's better. They're more balanced, better depth. I think Alabama wins. I do think it's a competitive game, and then Alabama kind of breaks it open in the fourth. But I just think Alabama's the best team. I think they're the best player. I think Milroe's the best player in this game, and usually the best player, when you're talking about two kind of evenly balanced teams, the best player wins out. I think Alabama is the best team.
All right, going with Bama there. That's not going to make the Michigan fans happy at all whatsoever. But when we look at the nightcap here in the Sugar Bowl, we got number two Washington, number three Texas. Now, these are teams, Zach, that we know can put up points. Do you expect there to be an offensive explosion in terms of points here? And who do you see coming out on top?
Yeah, look, I'd be stunned if it's not a shootout. You have two teams that were top 10 in the country in yards, two teams that were top 20 in the country in points scored. You have two terrific quarterbacks with Penix and with Quinn Ewers, ridiculous talent at receiver, good running backs. Neither team was, defense really kind of known in the second half of the season for really shutting teams down. Yeah, look, I think it's an absolutely really fun game to watch. I think it's something like a 41-34, 42-35 type game. I think it's going to be. I think the first game is good. I think the second game is going to be great. I think it's going to be a fun, fantastic. Unless you love defense, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I think Texas finds a way, even though Washington has probably played more good teams and is probably more battle tested, similar to Alabama. But yeah, I think it's a really, really fun game.
All right. I think this one's a fun game. I'm going to add one other question in here. I know we'll probably preview this as we get closer to the national championship game, but you got Bama winning, you got Texas winning. Does Texas, as good as you think that Bama is, does Texas have a shot of winning this whole thing? Because we talked at the top how anybody could win this, but if you like Texas and the points they could put up, could they give Alabama a run for their money if those two teams meet in the national championship game?
Oh, no doubt. Texas can easily win a national title. I don't think there's any question about that. Um, they're terrific on both sides of the ball. Defense might not be a shutdown defense, but it is very good. They're tough up front. Look, Texas won at Alabama. I know this is a very different Alabama team than it was in early September, but Texas did really manhandle them in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, look, there's no question about that. I think the college football playoff committee is probably rooting for an Alabama Texas rematch. Just I think that's the best game, and the storylines would be absolutely fantastic. Steve Sarkisian going to facing his old boss Nick Saban, the quarterbacks. I think that would be a great game. I think that's what we're going to get, and I think that'd be a lot of fun, especially Texas in their backyard, basically their backyard, in Houston where the title game is. That to me, I think is what the powers that be are probably rooting for. If you have to
Yeah.
give them true, sir.
Yeah, I'm rooting for that too. But you know how this goes, Zach. Sometimes when we're rooting for these things, we want to happen, all the great storylines, and then it doesn't happen. But I'm hoping it happens this time. I
No
hope that it
question,
happens
no
this time.
question.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That is my guy, Zach Braziller, joining us to break down the college football playoff. Should be an exciting one on New Year's Eve. Everyone check that out. Zach, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate you.
Hey, anytime. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.